As my job is literally watching Siege esports all the time, I tend to criticize the casters a lot. Black Dragons have to aggress on that. There's a player on hatch and there's a player on the wall. KDS entries on it? Oh no, bomb goes down because of the garage angle. The garage angle. Where do you go? Where do you plant? Where do you plant? Same bomb spot. You have to stay up, Vinny King. Same 1v2 scenario. Oh, both basements. Speedy was able to win.
You can't plant there. I can't believe that he doesn't know that. If you do not have garage control, which they didn't, and that long angle from the garage ramp and those red holes are also opened up, you have a direct line of sight for anyone planting default on that breach. They could have easily have just planted in behind the bomb chest. You don't know where the Blackbird was. You could have easily have got a plant down. That's what surprised me so much. FaZe did not know that.
Of course they fucking know that! FaZe knows that. They're just going for the fucking execute because they're not like, you know, what is the point of all that? The viewers now think like FaZe is like stupid. In fact, casting was a big enough problem to me that I put it as one of the points in my video about the game literally dying. Sometimes the Siege casting feels like we're in a unserious podcast. It just feels unserious. How come every time a lower standing team beats a higher standing team, it's always the higher standing team is playing like morons and never the lower standing teams playing a brilliant game? How come every time a team that is losing or getting dominated starts mounting rounds on the comeback is never, I feel a comeback coming? It's always, oh, they got lucky, oh, they get away with one, but I mean, this game's already done and dusted. And the over criticism just makes it unserious. Now, I understand roasting the shit out of players and laughing at things and making it, but I feel like that's a job for the viewers and co-streamers like me or the content creators to do, not the casters. And well, obviously, a couple casters didn't take too well to those remarks. And so this time, when Ubisoft flew me out to the Munich Major to co-stream it there, I got challenged to cast live on the spot. That's right, Ace of Pyrite and Dezachu, Siege's current most prolific casting duo, literally walked over to my co-stream booth and dragged me onto the casting stage for a quarterfinals match, Wildcard versus NIP, in the middle of the game, like between map 1 and map 2. And well, here's how it went.
Hi guys, welcome back. And look who's with us, it's Fett.
Hello guys.
I gotta say, I love the top.
Oh, thanks.
I saw it and I thought, that looks so good on the broadcast. We've now got to get you on, so here you are.
I love you.
Oh, that's very kind of you, mate. But yeah, I thought I brought you in for a game here as well. Of course, it's an NA team. We said we can't get in on M80 because you'd stream the house down. So it feels like this is a reasonable game to get you involved in. What have you been thinking so far of what you've seen in that first map?
I think Wildcard really surprised. I think they were ready for everything NIP does. I think NIP kind of, and this is a hot take, I think NIP kind of play like the NA equivalent of Brazil. They kind of look like a version of SR that come from Brazil. So obviously Wildcard were fully anticipative of it, and it's really surprising considering that NIP took down SR and SSG.
Absolutely, and they could yet take down a third, they could go on and take down a fourth. It would be absolute madness if we get to that point. But Tim, social votes actually still really around the same. Maybe not fully convinced by that first map from Wildcard.
Yeah,
bit of a weird one.
Kind of surprised, but look, doesn't matter what the socials think, it matters what's happening. This one's about to get underway. It's map 2. Wildcard were able to deliver better on their attacks. They won the map, simple as that. I think it's going to be the same case here, but how do you think that attacking's going to play into Skyscraper, Fett?
I think North America is one of the few regions that figured out attacking on Skyscraper. M80, you saw they had 2 back-to-back 6-0 attack caps within the North American League, and they tweeted out a little bit of a hint looking at Wildcard's attacks. Hey, who'd they get that inspiration from when Wildcard had successful attacking caps on Skyscraper themselves? I think we'll get something similar here. I think Wildcard starting on attack, I think it's a side they want. I think it's a side they're comfortable with. And hopefully we'll see some of the magic.
And the stats support it as well, right? They've got a 54% attacking win rate on this map. Winning more than half of their attacks on Skyscraper is no easy feat, especially having just played W7M here only a few days ago, Tim. Both teams have got really like tape on each other. I've got a question for you now. Think about it, Fett. You want to try play-by-play at some point to get to do the hype casting part?
Maybe a couple rounds.
Well,
I'm a little nervous right now. I'm a little shaky right now.
We drop every guest into it as we did fresh the other day, so you're going to get dropped in at some point. I'll
got
tell
it
you that now.
Sounds good.
For now, though, let's get ourselves focused on this first round. It is the classic karaoke and tea to start things out. And Tim, as you might expect, we've got a few roamers out towards the other side of the building.
Yeah, Wildcard already setting themselves up towards top black stairs as well. We see them pushing Geisha on this side here, so not too much of a surprise. They're trying to create that pinch. They're trying to get themselves into Geisha, get that control, clear out the Warden, which is going to be Pino. That's where a bit of pressure is going to come to begin with, and then they can look to work in from top black stairs. Whether they rotate that later on or not, we'll see. But right now, that's how they're shaping up.
Main kill right now. Target focus is going to be Hates. He is the barrier to entry for Wildcard. They need to walk the Montaigne up at him, Capital bolt at the guy, and use the Grims to ping him out. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to take underneath control for that.
I'm going to lose my job at this point, Tim. He sounds like he's a fit for the part.
He really does, doesn't he? Toxic Bear Canister is going to go out, and that's Hates in this position. As you quite rightly predicted, Fett is going to come under pressure immediately, as this Monty is going to want to push forward. But for the time being, Hates is playing this well. He's using his utility. He's just holding them back. He's got a bit of barbed wire to rely on as well. So this is all a game of cat and mouse. It's about how quickly Wildcard can force him out.
Looks like they might be flipping a bit. They see, Wildcard see their obstacles. There's too much going on black side. Let's take a look over to the opposite side of the map, office side. They're getting in fully on this side of the map, and they're taking the complete half of the map for free.
I feel like they've flipped everything over here, Tim. They've been making phone calls at the same time as 3 players are pushing on the east side, which has meant this has been a really half-hearted push in from Wildcard. Still trying to play a little bit of catch-up here. Baby Shark's been a bit far ahead of everyone else. Kansas a little bit too far behind. It's more the things that we saw of NIP back on the previous map was players playing out of turn, doing their own thing here, maybe not quite on the same page.
Important part for NIP here is that Wizard's got the diffuser down on drum stairs. He's playing around there, but he is low health, and he's being hunted by Spiker at the moment, but they're not sure exactly where he is. They know where the diffuser is, but not the player. Bear does manage to pick up Pino. That's going to be the Warden gone. Always a powerful operator to take off the board. It'll give them a little bit of space later in the round. They've got smokes in pocket that they could use come execute time.
How valuable is that Melusi underneath? I know they're looking at him, but he's not a Solus, he's not a Pulse. He's not going to be able to deny the plant. At some point, Wildcard realized it's time to hit site, and that time is now.
Apparently so. Hates in for one, Cons for a second. That Wildcard have tried to make it work, but as you say, even without Wizard being involved, they've managed to hold on well upstairs here. Final 15 seconds, and Bayer's got a lot of work to do. It would have been an ace to win that first round, Tim, but NIP stand firm.
I think Wildcard just spent a little bit too long worrying about where that diffuser was. It was down on the ground. They were fighting their way in, trying to get it back, but they could just never seem to confidently get in there and pick it up. Whether that was the presence of Wizard underneath that was putting them off, he was low health. They really should have just gone and got that kill, I think, and it would have freed up the rest of the map for them.
Now, going into it, I was nervous as hell. For full transparency, this wasn't actually a challenge for me to cast in response to roasting casters. Ace and Des are actually really good friends of mine, and we planned this a while back. But I do think it was a really good opportunity to get a peek into how difficult the world of casting is, and to see whether I would uphold the same standards I imposed on them when I was put under the spotlight.
Yeah, I think one of the best things that NIP did to stop that black push was to use the Azami onto the top black door to make sure that guy cannot help that Monty coming up. The moment Wildcard realized that, they do a great flip, but that Montaigne makes a big blunder coming at that wave stairs just a tiny bit too early.
It was all a little bit scrappy for me for that first round. Again, the flip-flopping, the change of direction, the phone call being used when 3 players were nowhere nearby to capitalize. It's okay. It's first round. We'll give it a chance to reset, but NIP did show they can hold on very, very comfortably. Second round, we're going to flip over to the other side of the map. It's going to be Exhibition and Office here in round 2. And once again, NIP have got a few players scattered out towards the west side of the map. And Fantasy, Tim, we speak about being quite a selfish operator sometimes. He's jumping onto the Vigil.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in the last round. He was just kind of getting a little bit floaty, wasn't he? We saw him around top drum stairs, got a kill, moved through, got aggressive into terrace as well. And if he can start getting that sort of energy, that's exactly where NIP want him. So get him on the Vigil, get him out there. He's going to have the Bosch G as well. If he can start playing with confidence, maybe pick up an entry, then Wildcard could be in trouble.
I've got a question for you, actually.
Yes.
Vigil. We often say it's selfish operator. Doesn't offer an awful lot to the team outside of being that rover that's out there to play his life. What's your perspective?
I think selfish operators are very common these days because of how much map control you really want to hold down. Sometimes you don't have, you know, the reinforcements to hold it down. Now, he is playing a position, an anchor position for Vigil that's very good because that Geisha kill box setup that they're doing with the reinforced walls, typically people bring the Deimos and the Grim to clear that out. By being Vigil, he's able to dodge those pings, so he's not necessarily playing a selfish position on this particular bomb site.
More in a spot to be able to counter what he expects to be brought along to deal with him in this case. And for now, hasn't been moved. We are only 60 seconds in. There is time. We've got Dash and we've got Kansan sniffing around this part of the map. You can hear those X-Kairos going off. But there we go. It's an easy swing from Kansan, who carries on his good form from the previous map, Tim.
Absolutely beautiful there, Kansan, just taking that one-tap peek and managing to take the Vigil out of it. That frees up Geisha now, so Wildcard can start pushing across and taking more control, which they will do as Spiker takes down Cons. That's going to be the Azami as well. 3 of your power operators are gone as Warden bites the dust. Spiker finding a second. Wildcard are running away with this, Des.
What a fantastic push forward as well. They've taken control of site. They've caught the 2 players from NIP that are trying to work their way back in towards site. Excellent execute by Wildcard.
So much redirection is what Wildcard is so good at. They brought the sense, the perfect counter to that mirror set up top. Mez blocks off all the line of sights. You see that as NIP, oh my god, they're coming T. Just kidding, they're hitting your site already. That's exactly what they did W7N, sorry. And bro, that's what they're doing now.
Say sorry. We've already mucked up many times. Don't you worry about that, man. It's all well and good. It's all well and good. Barbecue and kitchen for round 3 is where we step to then. I mean, so far we've seen a bit of a mucky first round, I thought. It's the best way to summarize it. Wildcard, lots of changing around, lots of misalignment on utility. That round, much more coherent in their attack, I thought, Tim.
Yeah, I think so. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. That top floor clearance coming across from the Geisha side, it was all unlocked by taking Fantasy out of it. Once they got the kill onto the Vigil, you saw them start picking up pace, start moving. We know we've got nobody behind us now. We know we've got the ground that we want, and here comes the plan, and it was just time to execute it. So really good from Wildcard on the attack there. I think it's going to be fairly similar from them this time around, but what do you think, Fett, here? Given the way that round 1 went, they're going to want top floor control. Do you think they still kind of go direct with coming through top black, come onto karaoke window, or this time do you say, you know what, we're gonna go for the whole package, get in through office exhibition, full sweep, and maybe try a little bit of a different tack?
The sheer amount of hard breachers on board lead me to believe that it could be an office across. However, I do see players getting ready to gear up black side. If anything, they want to use the ace charge to potentially go for the black stairs take, where they walk down the black stairs, ace into, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It looks like they're working almost every point of pressure on the map. They're all across everywhere.
Reloaded. Yeah, this is the way you start off with this map, right? It's kind of star sets up where you've got all these different points being challenged at the same time. Spoke about it back on Club, how NIP was often bunching up together and trying to make the pushes happen that way. For Wildcard here, we can see there's players out towards Exhibition, up towards Shrine, down towards Terrace, off towards Karaoke Window. They are everywhere, Tim.
NIP, this is a really important moment for them because Wildcard are trying to overload them. They're trying to bully them, they're trying to pressure them, and they're trying to assert dominance on the attack of Skyscraper. And if NIP allow that to happen, it is going to snowball round after round. The confidence will start to be leached away. Dash manages to pick up Wizard. The battles continue for top floor, but it's NIP overall that's losing out.
This is the big risk that you take in trying to push all these parts of the map, though, as you're forcing 1v1s everywhere. And NIP on their day, as you can see from Fantasy already, well, they can tango with the best, and they're looking damn good. A 3 versus 2, though, for Wildcard, as they have managed to come out of this on top, but they've still got a lot of work to do, Tim. They need that full top floor control. They need to then start looking towards the site. They've still got half a round to work with, though, Fett.
Top 4 control, they do get that reinforced connector wall between Geisha and Pink is going to pose kind of like a slowdown for them. They're not going to be able to rotate between verts of the site quite easily, but then again, they don't even necessarily have vert operators to do things with. They have breach charges, that's about it, but you have to pick one side to go for and one side to not. Do you go black stairs or do you drop the Geisha hatch? You have to choose one.
Looking towards kitchen hatch, maybe. Asking a couple of questions, but like I say, they had half a round still to play with, Tim. So much time here to figure out what's best.
Yeah, that's the thing. We saw it from them on Clubhouse, just using that clock. We saw it in the last round where it was 2v1. Absolutely not rushing at all.
Yeah, well, Fantasy almost goes for a flank there. Could have been huge. He gets in a huge win con spot, but immediately gets eliminated. That opens up the black stairs execute if they want to go for that. And you see Kansan and Spiker immediately rotating over for that, but Dash has liver control, and they're going to win the round off of just pure frags.
You know what? I thought earlier in the round, I was like, oh, this is the one I'm making do some play-by-play, but you took it there. You did a good job, man.
No
there
problem
you go.
at all.
I'm definitely losing my job.
I don't have the cool accent.
I'll take over the stream.
Okay, yeah. My booth is right over there.
Exactly,
so, yeah.
there you go. Yeah. You have to teach me. You have to teach me.
But the diversity of playstyle from Wildcard is just really, really impressive. Both rounds, the first couple of rounds we saw, they go completely from one side and then flip to the other. That round they do 1-1-1-1-1, almost like a G2 playstyle where everyone collapses 3-2-1 on their own individual positions, and they go for their own ones. And man, are they coordinated on that.
I'm always very nervous when you have that happening, but we've got attack timeout coming in. Let's take a listen to NIP's timeouts.
Que nem eu falei na preparação pra gente fazer, que a gente não fez agora, e jogar com um trap. Mano, joga full trap. Não deixa os caras ZK, mano. Se a gente vê que é uma Zezek, não deixa, mano. Não deixa. Vocês estão deixando, tá ligado? Só deixa eles fazerem tudo que eles querem, mano. Ganhar todas as áreas da bomba e a gente tá caindo, mano, o tempo inteiro nesse jogo espetado dos caras, entendeu? Eles beitaram ali a caçada, do nada estouraram a bomba, tá ligado? Tá. Então, mano, com a trap eu acho que vai facilitar isso e a gente jogar recuado, mas o recuado não é a gente equivar o mapa pros caras e foda-se, entendeu? Não, mano, começa avançado, pega uns drones, na hora que a gente recuar eu quero que você jogue agressivo nas posições, entendeu? Tá, beleza, fechou. Ali, Reis, a gente vai precisar ali, mano, de uma solução ali pro hold da ovo, tá ligado? Isso, é. O que você acha melhor ali, mano? Talvez umas solis ali, mano, pra você tentar antecipar pra baixo, pra cima?
We have a regular problem in the talent team, Fett, that I'm hoping you can help with. And that is that basically none of us speak Portuguese. Really hoping you're going to be able to tell me you do.
I heard the word traps, and you see Fenrir and Ella. And that's all I got from that timeout, but it makes a lot of sense. Wildcard are going for fast, decisive entries that are really the pace of which is what's determining the round. Look at backs completely turned. They have no idea where it's coming from, and there's another, and there's another, and there's another. By having these traps, these notifications, I like to call them, around the map, it'll tell them where to go and where to contest. And I don't know what the rest of what he said, but if I had to guess, maybe he's saying stop being scared, stop their entries, go off the sounds of the traps, collect together, and stop letting them run us over with the entries, essentially.
Hopefully Maria can help us out with that one shortly, and we'll get an absolute verification on just how good your guessing skills are. Because that sounds like the sort of thing, from what you've described, is what you'd want to say as a coach in that situation is, don't be scared, be willing to challenge.
I don't know if I could coach against Wildcard. I'm kind of washed, I've kind of fell off, a little bit old now. Pain in the back.
Less stress. At least somewhat.
Yes.
Here we go for our second quarter then. That's on the back of attack timeout. This is where you expect to see things change for NIP. But one thing we're touching on, Tim, with those two attacks, Wildcard have already kind of pushed past that 54% attacking win rate we spoke about.
Yeah, I mean, I think NIP are leaning into what Fett said there as well with the Dockerby ban. You know, let's try and prevent this ability in the early round for that call to come in and get aggressive onto the kills. This time instead, NIP are able to find the entry. Hits, takes down Baby Shark, and that's the knock. So Wildcard, they've recognized their strength there. They're trying to lead into it. Yeah, but let's just take the knock. Let's hit them by surprise. NIP have woken up. They're having absolutely none of it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the moments where fire versus fire, fighting fire with fire works is when you're on defense against fast attackers. If they're worried about sprinting into the building so fast, getting in their faces, spawn pinky, that works so incredibly well, and that's exactly what they're doing right now.
It's one of those waiting with the smoke ban on the other side. That was Wildcard saying we want to go faster, right? And we don't want to get caught up running into smokes here. But with the Dockerby being taken away, you do lose a little bit of that pace, that ability to be aggressive. And they're going to lose a second player here as well towards Hates. He has been, across both maps, an absolute headache. We spoke about him being a nuisance that couldn't do much on club, but at least here, obviously in this round especially, he has been wasting a bit of time. Half the round's gone. He's got 1 for 1. I'd say that's a pretty successful, air quotes, roam.
Yeah, but again, Wildcard have done a good job there. They've got the drones out, and again, I keep using the word teamwork for Wildcard. We can see the communication and the teamwork and the way they work together. They've recognized Hates as a problem. They've put several people in position, so he's kind of trapped. There's nowhere he can go without an engagement, and they managed to secure the kill. The question is, did they take too long in doing it? 1:15 left, and here comes the aggression. The Nomad is going to go in. Kansan again picking up another important down. It's effectively now 4 versus 3.
That's it, and that could be enough to give them enough time to hold on here. With Fantasy subdued and pushed away, they can't capitalize as easily off the back of the traps. Wizard is going to try and get him up, but no, Kansan! He's laid out the fishing line, Tim, and he's caught a big one. Got himself a freebie, now to a 4 versus 2 with a minute to play. Fett, this is looking great for Wildcard.
This double reinforcement on karaoke that NIP have done are going to hurt them so much in this scenario, because what Wildcard want to do is walk through that rotate and get the bomb down. And now there's no angles to stop it. They have to retake with just Azami barricades. C4 this guy potentially at the plant.
Oh.
Not good.
Missed it, and they get the 2 closing kills anyway. Wildcard looking fire so far. But the crazy story is, of course, here we've got 3 attacks being won on Sky so far. We always consider a successful half, you know, a 3-3 for attackers feels great. They could push on for a 4 or a 5-1 here, Tim.
I really feel like Wildcard have set this up in the map banning phase. They've recognized that through the tournament, they've struggled on attack a little bit. So our map that we're going to aim to get is the one that we're great at attacking. We're going to solve that problem for ourselves by making sure that we're on the best ground that we can in order to do so. And it is working absolutely beautifully for them. And I'm really concerned about NIP's position at the minute, because they, of course, in the second half of this, have to go on to that attack. Historically on Skyscraper, only about a 36% win rate on attack. Here at the tournament, I think they're at about 40% attack, so very, very difficult. Second half coming up for NIP. They needed at least a 4-2 on this defensive half, and they haven't got it. They are in big trouble.
Almost identical setup versus identical attack. The same sort of Geisha kill box setup that is getting ace charged by Spiker right now, and the Mira on Mez with lines of sight all across this entry, and then Sense again to block off those lines of sight. Wildcard, will you this time continue to use it as redirection, or will you use it to go, just straight up push through where you meant to go in the first place?
To do a little bit tighter to start things off, you can see they want to try and punish these players that are roaming out towards the west side of the map. Fantasy Shock Horror is the one out there trying to be busy here. We've got Wizard, of course, with the mirror window in towards gold, and then Hate's playing down towards Drum. This sort of like vertical slice of the map is where they want to hold for now. But Baby Shark testing of the waters underneath him. Maybe they come and get involved here and challenge on towards Fantasy with Spiker at top black. I don't think it'll be too long for this world unless he backs out and joins his team, which is now done. So NIP at least are responding to the pressure.
Yeah, every time there's like a 50-50 gunfight, though, it always seems that Wildcard come away with that little bit more. If you have a look at that coming together between Spiker and Fantasy, it's Fantasy that's taken the damage as he walks away.
What?
But hits, just absolutely beautiful, sprays through that light screen, finds his man, that dash down.
If he got the second there, I would have lost it. Instead, takes a good chunk of damage himself, down to half HP as Kansan has managed to get himself inside of Geisha. But the response from Hates is great. Fall back a layer, work back through Terrace in towards site. Happy that they've got one kill on towards Dash and can now play five players on site.
Let's force the late round, NIP says. Play the layer, fall back, fall back, fall back. Map control looked really good for Wildcard to get since they were staying off his side, but that one random spray through the light screen, perfect game knowledge, huge, huge hit to the side of Wildcard.
That's what I do love about Skyscraper. I always say it's one of my favorite maps. I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but the layers that you get on the top floor that you kind of fall back through as defenders has always been great to see, and NIP have pulled it off perfectly. Now, Wildcard are at the front door, Tim. They're knocking, they're asking questions. Bay is straight in here. Fantasy just going to run up behind him and bring him down. Now dancing the dance of death around Terrace itself. Spiker getting one back, but Fantasy, he's having a good time here, Tim. Got himself two, but Spiker has managed to get himself a couple. It's going to have to be an ace, or this one goes the way of NIP. It feels, though, like the Brazilians should be able to take this.
Yeah, swings his way into VIP,
Shots.
manages to find another 1v3, becomes a 1v2. Spiker onto Pino was the latest with the headshot, and Fantasy is so low health. He needs to try and keep himself out of this fight, but in a position to impact it should he need to. Fantasy has actually run away from this, but Cons has got his back. He takes down the last man, and that is going to be NIP holding on, getting themselves a second round defensively. But Wildcard, it felt a little bit on the attack there, like they'd run out of options. It was kind of like, yeah, we're just going to have to run into small bar. They didn't really have what they needed to take that ground. It was an easy kill for Fantasy. It was a little bit of a roll of the dice.
Despite the fact that Wildcard looked like they had low options at the end, I do really like that. You kind of sense the confidence in them. They're willing to take the risks. They're standing there. Spikers on a common position outside of black, just standing there ready to take the gunfight. They're ready. A bunch of young players, bunch of rookies, stuck together, toughed it through rough times in the NAL, and now I think they truly look ready to compete on the international stage.
I remember saying to you earlier on during the group stages as well, Tim, like Wildcard have been one of my top 3 favorite teams to watch so far. Like we've had a lot of fun. Yeah, Fury's been fun to watch, of course. G2 incredibly explosive on the attacks, very fun to watch. And Wildcard have had some of those rounds where they've looked absolutely excellent. The last one's certainly not a good example of it, but that explosiveness on the attack I think has made them a really enjoyable team to watch. And as we said coming in, we thought the attacks might be what makes the difference. It certainly did on Club. It could yet be what makes the difference here on Sky. Heading into this last round of the half, then NIP choose to defend Barbecue and Kitchen. We'll see again if we go for this full map player you were speaking about, Tim, or go for the small slice that you need and make something more shallow happen.
Yeah, well, if NIP can come away with a third defense here, it still might not be enough because I am expecting them to struggle a little bit on the attack, but what a smash and grab it will be. Wildcard have been great on the attack so far, and it'll leave them scratching their heads, but are they going to leave NIP scratching their heads as they go for the rush and the aggression on in towards the map? They are taking ground very quickly. They've got to get all the way across, but they're doing a great job.
It was only Cons they found there, right, though, Fett. He was the one who immediately turned tail, legged it, did not want to get involved in any gunfights, and sure enough, he's back on Drum. No one's gone down here, so a good response from NIP.
Wildcard fans should be troubled right now because they're doing the same thing stylistically that lost in the last round. They're doing a full over clear with no points of lurk pressure in between or on the other side. That's what NIP want. They're layering. Look how fast they are. They have reinforcements and a big setup all across the karaoke side. And just in case they need to leave that too, they can also fall down to the first floor. Right now, NIP want to run down that clock, force that execute. That's what worked for them last round. And Wildcard just to make sure they're cleaner on that.
Hates is underneath as well. Literally underneath the feet of the Monty here as he starts to step on forward. Of course, can't do an awful lot, but can push up those house stairs a little bit later on. So I hope to God they've got some cover. Maybe Baby Shark can help them from down off towards Exhibition and Office, but if he can get a bit of a backstab here, he's in for some real work. Oh, that was the cover I was on about. Baby Shark needed to be able to help here. Now, surely the call has come in. Oh, God, there's a guy behind us. They've now pushed forward aggressively. Pino has got rid of the shield. That was the crucial kill to get. Brilliant round from NIP.
Hits has done the damage and disappeared, though. Beautiful understanding from him. Gets up house stairs, gets the kill, and now he's back underneath, into sight, and looking to support his team. NIP, as you say, have absorbed pressure brilliantly here. We saw that flash of an entry from Wildcard. They tried to get in really quickly and grab ground, but they've not been able to take anything beyond that. Canton does manage to find one, but it still leaves them in a 2 versus 3. There's one up for grabs, and he manages to pick up a second. 2v2. Could NIP be letting another one slip?
This is such a tough spot because there's so much vert above the site. At any point, should Wildcard choose to double down on the site player, anyone on NAP could just retake right onto the top floor and then have full lines of sight onto everywhere that they could possibly plant. On the other hand, if you go 1-1 on each floor, then you're leaving it up to horizontal pressure. Where could they possibly come from? You're not able to be holding every single piece of horizontal entry, right? So what are we gonna do? We're gonna double up. It's 2v2 on the first floor. No one's retaking straight gunfights.
I don't think they know where Cons is tucked in right now, which is part of the danger. Hates and Cons did a great job of tucking themselves away, but Camden is going nuclear. Stopped at the last second, and Hates holds on. He's been having a great game so far, Tim, and saves the round for NIP.
Who else? A big triple in the round first, and just completely different kinds of kills. Using Solis perfectly, he gets out there on the roam, hits him on the flank, but then falls back to side. Just a great understanding of the round and where NIP are in that round. Back to support site, and then picks up the last 2 there as well. Great round from Hates.
Now at this point I started to get more comfortable. And let's be honest, that's entirely due to Ace and Dez just being an amazing casting duo. The name dropping when throwing it to one another and myself, literal perfect comms. It was like getting hard carried and ranked. Like I literally think if I did a tri-cast with any other duo, I would shit the bed and ruin the broadcast. But them being the god casters that they are, they made it so easy, so conversational. They enabled the shit out of me and I started to hit a groove.
Denari, I trolled when he came out because I said he would be the best operator in the game, bar none, now that Fenrir and Legion lost their secondary shotguns. Unfortunately, Denari can't do anything about people coming up staircases, so that's not the case, but there's a lot of heavy traffic areas that he does super, super well at. Still highly picked, so not fully wrong, hopefully, but I just like to overhype things, right?
It's only your job, mate. It's a bait for the views, the engagement, the interactions. Admittedly, it's been more, we've seen often more be the case that it draws in grenades, right? You're forcing utility to clear out those Denaris. It's obviously not always obvious and immediate where they are, and sometimes it's a case of trying to find an angle to shoot them out. You can't do it. Instead, you turn towards nades in the same way that we used to in mute jammers on single doorways, for example. Don't take the risk of stepping up to the door, toss utility, so there's still value being offered by the operator, and the fact he's got a shield, of course, being used in this round.
NIP clearing straight into that massive setup of Wildcard. I wonder how that will work out for them. They do have the Clash that will directly counter that shield and knock him back, but Wildcard look a bit hesitant to contest right now. I think they also want to play the layer. Shields will make contact. Nothing happening.
The classic stare down.
Flash Torch just backing up the Monty a little bit there. Baby Shark knowing that whilst the electricity might not do any damage anymore, his sheer presence is enough to prevent that push forward. Halfway through the round, NIP not really established inside of the map yet, and this is where we might start to see those problems. But that said, Wizard on the rappel manages to pick up Dash, does a lot of damage in return though, and they do not want to lose the Grim. The Candelas come in. This could be time for NIP to start grabbing a little ground.
They've got to make their move, Tim, but they're throwing in all this utility. No one has really pushed into the map. They've sat outside outside. They've given space to Wildcard, who have now found 3 kills. The Monty may still stand him, but Cons is only just getting inside a terrace. He's been abandoned, left out in the cold on the other side of the map, and 2 of them are now pushing. You've got Bay and Baby Shark trying to chase him down, and Cons is just trying to keep himself alive here.
The Montaigne was completely fake pressure. They had a free kill, and then they all run over, but Wildcard are still ready for it. Regardless, Cons trades it back even to a 2v2. Clash versus Montaigne, however, you get directly counter and evade, taking down Fantasy. It's a Wildcard round.
Tell you what, he stuck to him like glue that entire round. The Clash was giving him 0 space on that Monty, and you can see how it forced him to have to be aggressive, and in the end, sprayed down very comfortably. Great first round.
And this is where I think the problem is going to come from NIP. You know, Wildcard there, despite the pressure, despite having the shield up in sight, they have answers and are very, very good on the defense of Skyscraper. So NIP, their opportunities are going to be few and far between. Found themselves losing that first round, takes a little bit of momentum, and they're in that position now as well, where every round they lose is one closer to the end of the tournament for them.
Yeah, they're going to have to deal with the same office layer this time, except it's the site itself. Clash outside, mirrors facing everywhere. Too broad to slow down your push from the opposite side over. Let's see what NIP choose for their approach.
Surely going to see that mirror band away in the 3rd point as well, Tim, because again, we're seeing them running into the absolute death here. Wildcard did back on the previous map, NIP banned it at the end of the 3rd round. Dash, as you just said a second ago, running it here alongside his army, alongside the Clash. There's just so much to work through. And if a team struggles on time at all, careful there, Milosh. Really sort of trip over, bless his heart and soul. They've got a lot to work through either way. Same with things like the smoke that was banned out on the previous map. It is giving a lot for NIP to do, which is why looking at the lineup here, in towards very execute-focused operators, the Deimos being in below, the Sens light screens, those Grim Bees, they've got a lot that maybe isn't the best equipped for clearing out around the map itself, but the site, they've come well prepared.
I'm keeping an eye on the hard breacher here. What does Cons do? Where does he go? Because they've gone for the double electricity ban. So they want to be breaching. They want to be going on opening walls. They didn't really do that, you know, to begin with in the first round or their first attacking round. They've got to make sure that they're using that utility, because otherwise, what's the point in the bans? You might as well take away the Clash, the other operators that you're going to struggle with. So keep an eye on Cons and see how much value they get from that hard breach.
The #1 target for Cons is that wall between Geisha and Karaoke. Normally, to counter this Geisha box hold, you see to the right, the moment he repels left, you'll see that wall on your right, is a ranged hard breacher like Ace, like Hibana.
Nice,
but
right
now
here,
it's, hi Ace. But now he's on Thermite. It's both been away by Wildcard. They can't get in on this guy. How are they possibly going to clear him out? They have to use the sense to block off the drum holes so that they can run at him through Geisha.
Again, we've got the Clash outside again. He's just being an absolute headache. They can't really play on this balcony now. Bay, he gets the one. He's still asking questions. This is horrible, Tim. How have they let it happen?
They've lost Wizard and Hates there, and that is the attack starting to crumble. They haven't dealt with the Geisha hold either, and Bay is just supporting that further. Gets back in.
Timing.
Unforgivable. How does he get away with this?
That is just insane.
And
Bay is still daring it up. How is he still alive? Clash is so incredibly strong.
In the right hands, that's for sure, and Bay is having a lot of fun. Fantasy trying to recover the round, but it's a 2 versus 4. Last round, they at least had Cons on the Monty to try and help out, but this one, Tim, feels like it might be a bit too much to get done.
Yeah, time is ticking for NIP now, and we know that it's unlikely. However, while Fantasy is left alive, we know that anything is possible. 2v4 becomes a 2v3 as he finds the first that they need. 55 seconds, so they have plenty of time. They can have the players on the drones, feeding intel. They've got the air jabs to deal with the Clash. NIP have an opportunity here. Wildcard, I think, just got to play this smart. Don't overplay it and let NIP put themselves in those risky positions.
Without pressure outside office, they can play anywhere, any corner on this side. This is why Skyscraper is so defender-sided. There's so many corners, there's so many rat spots, and there's no one outside the breaches to even tell you where they are.
Honestly, a round for Bay, I think, there.
If you remember at the beginning, I said, what are they going to do with hard breach? They've gone the double electrical ban, and we see the end of the round there with 3 defenders who can play wherever they want because nothing's been breached. Absolutely. And that's a problem for NIP.
Really was the Clash for me. Like, he did so much work outside. And you gestured to it during the round as well, Fett. 3 of those air jabs left in back pocket could have really helped dealing with Bay, but the team were just, they were panicking almost, didn't quite know how to respond, and by the time they finally got an answer, he got 2 kills and then came back to collect a 3rd.
Yeah, they seemingly had the perfect attacker lineup. If they wanted to win a 2v4 against a Clash, that would have been it. They had the Nomad up, but unfortunately for them, I think they just kind of gave up. I have no idea how Fake even got back in here. I don't even know.
Why are you playing that game, Pino? Why? You're not at all. Like, oh.
We had a conversation about when Clash came out. First of all, me and Penguin were going at it about whether it would be absolutely broken or absolutely not. Brazil was one of the regions most heavily affected by Clash because of how aggressive and face check they like to play. All Clash bans or all Clash play and super defended side of rounds when Clash was up. NA and EU seem to deal better with Clash, but also now they seem to better abuse it. I'm sure we can see from that round just how oppressive Clash can be on specific maps like Skyscraper. And he's running it again. We better hope, for NIP's sake, they ban it the next round.
Now, you know what it is? Baby Shark was like, "Bet, you got 3 kills there, yeah?" He's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm playing Clash now. I need some more." He's down 1-6. Not that it matters when your team is playing this down well. You know, Bay at 8-4, Kansan's 12-4. They're absolutely flying, Tim. So why not, Baby Shark thinks, get himself involved in the action by running with that Clash, potentially being quite aggressive with it.
Rotero drones start to race on in and take away those castles, just picking that defense apart piece by piece. But let's not forget, there is the Azami on side, so the keeper barricades as well can help to replace some of that lost utility. NIP just kind of cycling around the outside of the map at the minute. None of them have got established inside yet. They're just trying to soften up the defense where they can. They're a minute in. It's all about droning and utility so far.
Yeah, NIP playing the exact same game that Wildcard lost rounds against them too. They're pushing directly across. Meanwhile, Wildcard, they have the layer, the mid-map layer, Shrine and Drum control. Drum with the Azami and Shrine with Clash. 2 heavy slowdown points. How will you clear this out? How will you circumvent this? Will you ignore it and hit somewhere else, or will you just dump utility in it, and who will come out on top?
And they've still got to work on getting downstairs after that point. They're not even looking close to breaking through the top floor hold. Once that's done, Tim, then it's about opening up the verticals, massaging the last couple of players, going for your execute, for example. I don't think they have enough time here unless they go now, really.
They're just feeling like he had an opportunity there. It wasn't to present itself. Candela goes in, but again, how much are you gaining for this utility? That's all 3 Candelas sent in. Are they making enough progress? It's a little bit of a bait as they're trying to get into sight and just trying to push them all over the map, but it's not happening as a double kill comes in. Hits does manage to find Kansan. 3v3 as it all shakes down, but all Candela's gone, and Wildcard holding strong.
Spiker just doing Spiker things, though. He's had 2 brilliant maps so far. Brings it back to Wildcard side for NIP for a second. I thought they were starting to build a little bit of momentum in the round, but that has been completely neutered. It's down, I was going to say to Cons and Hates, but now it's just Hates himself. He's had a good game so far, Tim, but a 1v3 feels a bit too far.
Yeah, Hates has just kind of been running around in restaurant and storage. He ran into sight, he ran back out. He's not been able to find anybody because Wildcard have defended from above. Bates putting the plan down. He could have stuck it then. He won't know that. The challenge starts to come in from above. You know that his days are numbered, and it's going to be Dash to pick up that final kill for Wildcard, and they put themselves on match point.
Wildcard are so good at responding to those the attacking lurks that NIP are throwing at them off the util. Right there, it honestly looked like NIP had a gap. They just walked the guy through first floor up the wave stairs, off of the Yings. It looks like they were ready to go fully in, get a backstab, and break things open. But Wildcard, they're not holding the crossfire. They're backed all the way up. That's how you counter that aggression. You don't even hold the play for the objective. You back all the way up, you play in a deep corner, you play the rat, and then you counter the aggression. Look at how far back Spiker is playing right here. Perfect counterplay. Every single round has been like this, where NIP seem to have a gap, but Wildcard are just ready for it every single time.
Looking really impressive, Tim, and it's a good sign for things to come because we are getting to the sharp end of the tournament now, and I think it's fair to say every team left, we've seen their attacking proficiency be something spectacular. And if NIP can't quite tango against Wildcard, how could they against the likes of M80, G2, FaZe, Secret, you name it? So many big teams left that would just run over them.
That's the thing, you know, I don't want to, you know, kind of put anybody down. All the teams are here because they've earned it and they've all put up good performances. But you've got to say this matchup is the 2 sleeper teams, really, if you wanted to call them that, at the tournament. And if you were to say to me they've gone on a run and won this, I'd say, you know, what a performance. It'd be a surprise. Like you say, when you've got names like Falcons and FaZe left, it is always going to be a big ask. But this could be the start of it for Wildcard. It's been a solid performance so far. They've recognised what the weaknesses are in NIP. They've played into it brilliantly, isolating them on Clubhouse, taking advantage of that lack of teamwork at times and punishing them. And then here on Skyscraper, knowing where the difficulties are going to come from NIP, and again, completely abusing it. Really good from Wildcard. And I tell you what, there's a few teams I think that'll be looking towards this team and doing that little bit of extra prep.
So you need the wellies at this point, don't you, Tim? It's getting very watery, very murky around the NIP booth. One round, I was about to say one wave away, but they are one round away from the wave washing over them and taking them out of the competition.
NIP have a reputation in the Brazil League for being a fantastic tactical team, a fantastic team under one condition: when the pressure's not on them. They are known to be almost like, from the other Brazilian coaches I've heard, they've known to almost be pressure chokers, right? Where we see in the playoffs when things matter the most, that's when they start to get a little shaky. They look so dominant during that group stage. Here, during the elimination games, they almost proved us wrong, beating North American Titans, SSG, SR, back-to-back, dominant fashion to getting to this main stage, but is on the stage for the first time in a while for many of these players. Is this where they crumble?
Looks like it may well be. I mean, Spiker spoke about it during the interview before the game. He was here to get revenge for his fallen friends, the two teams that NIP have eliminated so far. And it looks like that revenge will be complete. Yes.
Just want to say that those fallen friends are Ashen on SSG and Ambi on SR, and I coached all three of them on the same team when they were in T3.
Oh, there you go. The small links that we have. I wish I could understand that, but I didn't.
I did not understand that.
I'll tell you what we did find out during the break. It was hilarious. Someone is basically, I wouldn't quite call it a cosplay, because they put on a shirt, they're bald like you are.
It's a cosplay.
But they appeared up here at the balcony to our left, and I was just like, Tim, look, this is mental. You got a picture of it as well.
I did.
There he is.
I need to get a better picture later on. I'll be out wandering around. Do come and try and find
I'm
me.
really sad isn't happening. What I was going to do is, if we got to overtime and a given map, I was going to say, Tim, stay quiet, and I'd call to that gentleman to scream the line for us. But unfortunately, overtime does not look to be something we will be getting. We've had NIP had to sit there and just chew on their thoughts for a while, unable to speak during that tech pause, and now they've got to figure it out here, Fett. It's now or never.
There's one thing that you said that I actually disagree with, because NIP just banned Clash. That was the thing that was messing them up. And Wildcard also lose that ban phase because Wildcard banned the Nomad so that they could keep playing Clash, but now it's gone. So the biggest hurdle that NIP had in front of them is now gone. So I think, well, I mean, this is the last round if they do lose it, but if they do win it, it's a good sign that Clash was the biggest problem. If Clash can no longer slow them down, maybe they can bring it all the way back.
The point is, it becomes a test now for Wildcard and their adaptability. What they thought was going to happen hasn't happened, so now they've got to flex. They've got to pivot. They've got to go to plan B. They've got to come up with a new answer because they can't play behind the Clash, so it becomes a really important round to see whether they're capable of doing that.
And the new plan might just be the site that we're going to as well, Tim. We spoke about this, we've seen it about half a dozen times now this competition, which feels like an awful lot, to be honest, given Skyscraper hasn't been played all that often. But this is one of those sites that teams can get very, very stuck on. And you're looking at NIP with the attacking difficulties they've had this series. This could be perfect, Fett.
Yeah, I mean, the site call was absolutely brilliant because you've played against Clash on every other site, so you can make a new plan. Now that they don't have Clash, you haven't seen them play the site, though. But there is a Lurk v Roamer fight about to happen in Geisha. Dash walks away with it, murdering his Brazilian counterpart. He's still alive. How do they deal with him? He's wasting so much time here. If you still want to go for this player, you have to waste more resources, more time. That opening pick has got to sting.
A continued problem for NIP is the lack of trades, and they now are in that situation again, 4 versus 5, because they weren't in a position to be able to support each other. And Wildcard, they can just start playing into the time game a little bit. They've got the extra man. Mirror is going to be targeted out by that Deimos, but able to just drop away from danger. No, hits once again, right place, right time, takes down Dash, hits with another. Is he going to be the savior of NIP?
Could well be. I mean, getting fancy in the first place felt massive. To then get 2 back after Dash got pinched out, wonderful stuff. Hates in the right place at the right time. It did take half the round, but surely, Tim, surely we don't see a 4v3 going against them.
I love this from NIP. I've commented on the lack of teamwork sometimes, the way that they're isolated, but they're actually using Deimos in quite a different way. Wizards is in the back line, putting the tracks in and just feeding the intel to Hits for him to go and chase. Absolutely love that from NIP.
this doesn't feel like NIP versus Wildcard. This feels like hates versus Wildcard, and this guy really hates NA.
Spiker in for one, at least getting rid of Hates and taking down the main man of the round. Baby Shark 1v3. We mentioned that before the rehost. He was 1-6, hasn't had the strongest map. That's okay, his team have been absolutely flying. You can't have all 5 putting up double-digit numbers, unfortunately. There just aren't enough kills to go around. But this would be a big one to save for him, especially when we've no tracks left on the Deimos, gives him a chance to be slippy, but even NIP shouldn't be letting a round like this slip away.
No, absolutely not. In a 3v1, they've got to lock this down. Baby Shark is probably going to get this. No, Wizard manager, I would expected, given that he was walking into Baby Shark's line of sight, that he might lose out that one and leave it up to his teammates, but no, Wizard's actually done a great job there. I kind of commented on it during the round. He's been feeding intel to Hates throughout. Hates has been like a sort of a heat-seeking missile for Wizard. So Wizard just sits in the back line, does the track, and off Hates goes for the kill.
Okay, but the mirror on the VP wall and on the outside of the walls. Okay, both for bomb site. One thing for this off defense, dash, but some mute jammers the bomb site. Probably gonna go to the attack and push bomb site. So mute jammers for the bomb site for a vertical, and you Shark playing the ward like in bomb site too. You start close to the bomb site, okay? If they do Geisha clear, we help you play the Harry Potter. You can do the Harry Potter stuff with the video. I think it's good. It's fine.
Okay.
Or if it doesn't matter. But I think for T-bomb site, to do the room after the T-bomb site, Shark playing their Ella with the pack grenades. Jake on the room strategy, playing the mirror, VP wall and off the breach. So Shark can pack grenade the mirror, okay? And kitchen defense, one last adaptation. Shark, you're gonna play the orcs. Don't reinforce anything on the opposite side. Play orcs. You're gonna hide inside the T. If they do a full clear, you're gonna be there. The last of the daughter reinforce, you guys can do the same. Mute jammers on the T walls and the stuff, okay? One more round, guys. Keep the energy. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. One round.
Now, for very obvious reasons, we don't play the track timeout in the arena, but do you want to share what you just heard, what you made of it?
Yeah, so a lot of Lagunas basically gave a timeout, basically calling you next 3 rounds in advance. Now, there's a lot of jargon used there because they know the names of their strats. They know their strat book. We're not going to know what they are talking about because they're saying when you run this strat, when you run 3.1, when you run A, B, C, let's do this. And we have no idea what they want to go office strat, they want to put the mirrors down, they want to do a heavy bunker setup. But the thing is, I have heard a lot throughout this tournament that when people hear those timeouts, they're very confused by them and they think they're terrible. I want to make it known to the public right now that that is a very good timeout. Teams need different things, and the public can often better comprehend a timeout that's like, wake up, let's go. But sometimes a team needs strategy, and that's what I used to do, that's what Igor does, that's what Callout does. It's a different type of coach, a different type of meta, and it's all based off the team's needs. So for the criticisms that people are confused by it, you call the next 3 rounds of Blueprint down in the future. We have an option every round, and right now for Wildcard, they just need to win 1 to close out the game.
It's something that we saw the other day, to be fair, and obviously we've seen a number of timeouts from various teams throughout the event. It's been a wonderful thing that we get to hear. Yeah, Romario, as we heard on G2, speaks very quick, but you look at his players, they're so attentive to everything that he's saying, like, they pick up on all of it as well. So although what you might hear, you think, okay, it's too fast, you can't understand that, or this thing over here feels a bit useless, you're talking about strats or whatever, like you're saying, it often isn't, and you can see the reaction of the players to give you the idea of, is what the coach's saying being taken in.
Spiker, this is what was said in the timeout. He's going for a rat play, but the Vigil Scanner is going to make it look like he's still in Geisha. They're clearing out a ghost. They're clearing out nobody because Spiker's actually on the staircase, but it doesn't matter because Ashley was going for a pick off of it.
Just fantasy being fantasy on the Ashy. It's really winding back the years. Charged through and got one, was looking for a second and somewhat unfortunate not to get it. Spiker though, there he is, he strikes finally. At least now the dig's up, they know that he's downstairs, but now he can move somewhere else, Tim, and cause further frustration.
That's the problem, if you don't get the kill on him in 10 seconds, he's gone. You've got to start the whole process over again, trying to track that Vigil down, and it all takes time. 4 versus 4, Kansan has taken a ton of damage there on the mirror, so that's something Wildcard need to be aware of. He's in a position where he's going to be fronting up and trying to prevent them pushing into Dragon, and he's in a dangerous position because he's such low health, and it's something that Wildcard are going to need to back him up.
And IP look like they smell water. However, on the drum side of the map, that side does not have a mirror facing them, where it usually should be if there's a mirror on the board. So it looks like with the Sense Grenade, with the Blitz, they look like they could do this push, similar to what Wildcard did in Desperation, but this time with more gumption and more confidence, because there's no util on Wildcard's side besides the Fender to stop it. They opted for the Vigil rat play. There's nothing else to stop this push from going through, and it looks like with the players of NIP grouping up around drum, they're going to go for this explosion soon.
And you got Pino rotating over, of course, on the Sens. Those light screens, incredibly value for pushing in. Warden can't deal with them anymore, and so there's a bit to look out for. He'll be on the display window, but if he gets picked off here, that could really spell disaster as they'll they'll have no one able to backstab and do work on the backline of this defensive side. Here we go, though. Smokes going on down. They're looking to charge on through. Wizard, two of those cusses coming in deep, and Cons is going in deep. Wizard getting rid of Baby Shark. Pino in the backline still here, blocking off the sightline from Bay, and this plan should be able to go down.
Spiker has to move, and he has to move now. He's coming across through Drum as Bay manages to pick up Pino. The diffuser is going down, though. Cons throws the shield on his back and manages... No, he doesn't. He takes a bit of damage, so he has to come off that plant. And now Wildcard in a position to fight back, but it's all up to Kansan. Manages to pick one up. 1v3 becomes 1v2, but the plant's going down again, and it looks like NIP might just hold on for another round.
Got to catch the player inside the lounge off to his left, and no, it's Cons to find him on the shield. A great round from NIP. We spoke about, of course, that downtime during the tech pause. We had their own chance to have attack timeout as well, at the same time as it was going on for Wildcard, and it feels like they're starting to find something out here.
No clash, no slowdown. NIP seem to have figured out Wildcard's win con previously that prevented them from getting the entries that they wanted. Now, NIP are just walking straight on through. Wildcard, what will you do to slow them down? You have to do something. Was it trap ops? Is it Goyo? Is it forcing the lay around and then playing the win con at the end? What is the solution? We'll find out in the next round.
And towards the end, I felt like I got a bit too comfortable to the point where I actually did almost start ruining the broadcast. Like I literally cut them off twice and almost ruined the game-ending call.
NIP looking like they're back on it. Wildcard, what is their answer? They're going to run traps. They're going to run the Elamine. They're going to run the Fenrir Dreadnoughts. That is their answer with the smokes on the T side. Let's see if it works.
We spoke about it in the last map, Tim, but in all but one round, we had a multi-kill stacking up for somebody. 6 rounds so far. In fact, those 7 rounds now we've seen stacking up. Every round there is that new hero. It just takes one player to have that moment of magic, that moment of brilliance to see either team over. If NIP win this one, we go to OT. Wildcard take it. It'll be heartbreak for NIP because they fought back so well.
At the moment, it looks like NIP are going to be shaping up for that office side take. So get themselves into house, office, exhibition, and move across. Try and take that middle ground of Shrine, of Drum, and try to push forward from there. There's not too much attention being paid over to Dash, who's currently on black stairs as the smoke. Position that we would expect him for the beginning, but Wildcard do have the opportunity here once they realise to maybe push their line up a little bit and get a bit more aggressive towards that middle ground where the big fight is going to be.
Last time Wildcard purely relied on the clash to hold that shrine layer. This time they know they don't have clash. It'll be taken for free. They're gonna throw all the bodies over here and fight this extremely aggressively. Baby Shark not trying to give it up. However, NIP might have the same idea. They have to play underneath, and oh my god, he's gonna be caught on the angle that was supposed to help Wildcard. It goes against them on the cut. The fall back to site, not successful. They lose one.
I love that from Fantasy as well. Rather than stick and try and get a second, knowing Baby Shark was in the area, he immediately turns his attention towards top black, expecting someone to turn up there. And sure enough, Dash has now appeared. Shotgun at the ready. It's Fantasy very much sandwiched out a little bit here. That smoke was destined for him. You can see it all ripping off now as well. But Wildcard starting to come under a bit more pressure. Spiker remains the hero. Gets rid of Pino. That's the Candela's down, Tim.
Wizard does have an answer though, and that's something again I've mentioned. NIP on trades, they've been so much better the last couple of rounds. Every time somebody drops, a teammate is there with a response and they keep that man advantage. Wildcard are just trying to dig in deep here. They want to get this done. They don't want the extra rounds. It's 3 versus 4, 40 seconds. Wizard manages to get another. That's 2 lost to the player on rappel. 30 seconds and you feel like Wildcard are giving this away a little bit easily.
They've got all the time here with the plant now going down too. They're going through a bit early, spraying at the beat. Cons going low, but there's a step across from Fantasy. It's a 4v1. Baby Shark can't hold on. Tim, say the line.
We're going to overtime, Des.
Not you, the guy in the crowd.
Wildcard, no clash. They're just struggling. They gave away the last line that possibly could have won them that round, which is the black stairs control. I think they should have regressed there, but unfortunately for them, they give it up. They get the free plan away to the Montaigne, and they've got to be banging their head against the wall with that limb damage nerf. Couldn't kill the Mountain on the plant right there. Absolutely struggling with the SMG.
And the big problem that Wildcard have got now is they go into overtime, and the way that the bans work in overtime under the new system is that both of your rounds will be played with the full set of bans, meaning Wildcard, they've got 2 defensive rounds, and they've got no clash. And at the minute, no clue how to win these rounds against NIP.
And as you may have seen, as we had that little camera pan across, water now filling the entire stage. Both teams at peril because we're in OT. You feel like the tide is with NIP. They're the ones that have had for a few rounds now a lot of success on the attack. They start here on the attack. Surely they can fight through and take us to map 3.
I was wondering why the admins were wearing like the water boots.
We've got to keep them dry. We've got to keep them dry.
I didn't expect it to be real water.
What did you call them? The walking boots?
Oh, the water boots. I don't know what they're
bellies, mate.
Oh, my fault. I'm sorry.
What do you call them in America?
I don't know. I've never worn them. Rain boots?
Rain boots?
I don't know. I'm an idiot. I'm not. Don't group me in with the Americans. I'm just
take you for what you are, mate. Take you for what you are. Okay, then it's going to be off towards the east side exhibition and office to kick things off in OT. Wildcard definitely scrambling here to find an answer. Very similar lineup, if not the exact same one that we saw them employing previously. It was when Spiker got away with a freebie on the downstairs, if we recall, and then disappeared back into the map. Started trying to create more and more problems for them, and they did manage to choke NIP out. However, NIP have seen this before. They will have a response.
Fett, what do you see here that Wildcard are trying to do differently? Because something's got to change.
They're just running the same default in my eyes, and I really don't see any response from them. They're putting Spiker back in that Geisha kill box. Last round, they tried to fake it out by having his sensors coming from downstairs instead of upstairs, making them clear out a ghost. Now he's there for real. NIP, they have the Montaigne push, no Clash to counter it, no Legion Mines, no Malusis, nothing to slow it down, no Goyos, no nothing. And the sense to block up the line of sight. It looks like this guy's dead to rights.
Surely he should be here. Baby Shark, of course, are dancing around Geisha at the same time. Has got Pino out and Terrace behind him. Not going to have the angle immediately. Wizard off on the rappel towards the far side. So it is this focus on getting the full west side clear done out. The important part for me, Tim, is let's not be losing players like we did last time around. You've seen this before. You should know what the points are where you got tripped up.
Yeah, it feels like Wildcard are gambling a little bit on a player having a big moment and getting those couple of kills, and that might be just the kind of moment they need. Baby Shark stepping around that breach there, getting aggressive, taking the fight to NIP and getting an entry kill. That is really big. They've struggled on the defense so far to give themselves the advantage. They are set up beautifully here, but the pressure will mount onto the mirror. Baby Shark tries to fight but can't, and here come NIP does.
They snap those jaws, shot and catch too, but Spiker still going here. Has got himself another. Kansan collecting one for himself too. Just like that. That NIP tide, it's starting to wane, Tim. It's falling away as Kansan is going massive. Finds himself all he needs to put themselves on match and series point.
When you have no strategical answer, swing kills. Yeah, and they fixed their mistake from last round where they chose to fall back, give up black. This time, we don't want to give up the first layer. We don't want to give up Geisha. Everyone, go together, power together. 3, 2, 1, stop them in their tracks. That's our answer. Get wicked with it.
So now we flip to the other side. NIP will be on the defense. It was a 3-3 half, so no major kind of inherent advantage to anybody. Wildcard did impress us in the first few rounds on attack, particularly with that playstyle of aggressively going in, taking ground, finding kills, and putting NIP on the back foot. Can they match that energy here? They've just played the perfect round, really, in round 13 in order to do that. As you said, Fett, they've played that high-energy defense right up in their faces, and you feel like they just need to carry that forward now and just sweep them away.
Attack being the better side. Well, not the even side, but the better side for Wildcard historically in this match, at least it looked like, considering Clash was gone on the defense in the second half. Now with all the tools ready to go.
1 for 1 on this one overall with how things set up. It was NIP who managed to lose it out the first time. The second round is Wildcard who came away on top in very dominant fashion. And then the next time it was Spiker getting a 3K, but not enough to convert the round. They were the only kills that were found by Wildcard on that attack. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that, Tim. Someone's got to break that deadlock in this little mini best of 3 on this site itself.
It's a mirror matchup strategically wise. You see the same thing. Vigil in this Geisha box. Reinforced walls behind him. Scanners on. However, Wildcard have something they don't. They have range hard breach. They can go to the Karika window and open up the wall from the rappel. But do they even want to clear over from that side? It looks like, at least from where the bodies are distributed, that's what they want to do.
Going to be the pressure coming in towards that Geisha position immediately. The mirror window has been smashed out just to remove that intel a little bit, but it gives intel in itself because they know Wildcard must be present out there and looking to push. We can see, in fact, that NIP are getting right up towards. They're going to bandit trick that wall now, try and prevent any breaching coming in. Shouldn't be too much of an immediate problem, of course, with the Thatcher on side. That's going to do the job, and the Geisha wall will open 1 minute into the round. Wildcard progressing nicely.
I made a very large mistake. They don't have an actual range heart breacher. They had it available, but because they don't have it, Fantasy just gets to stay here. That's the biggest problem. The Buck has to be able to clear him out from underneath with the Buck charges. Otherwise, they'll make no progress in the round. They haven't cut off, though.
There's 3 of them underneath. The player on the Geisha window. 1 top black. They are everywhere, but Wizard has got Spiker, and that means there is no 1 top black to watch Fantasy. He's been able to escape and get out to drum here, but Dash finding coming up main stairs. Fantasy arguably taking off a little bit more than he can shoot him.
He sees the man, but he cannot find the kill as it's Hits once again standing tall for NIP. He's had such a big game for them today and continues to do so. Finds the man and just prevents that onslaught that was starting to build from Wildcard. 4 versus 3, NIP settling back towards site.
This is one of those sites that is just so incredibly hard to execute now across if you have man disadvantage. There's so many corners, again, that you could sit in if you're a defender. So many crossfires to hold, and on top of that, all the walls are closed. No hard breacher in sight. 1 can opener, but they're not going to be able to get that, or they're not going to be able to get every single wall open to clear out these positions. But they might have something here on minibar.
Hates again. He's just that guy. He's always involved. He's always causing problems. He's always getting away by the skin of his teeth. Starting to bear down to, but we're in the last 30 here. Wildcard, got to get a wiggle on.
It's a little bit of a standoff. Wildcard, they don't want to be aggressive. They were punished last time. They tried it from this position. Cons manages to pick up here. 3 versus 2, 2 versus 2 as the trade is there. But Baby Shark is down, and that's it. We're going all the way to 15, Fett.
Oh my God.
What about me?
You're old news, Des.
We're going to 15, Des.
We are, yeah.
Who would have thought?
You're stealing it away from me now, see?
They switch up so fast. It's okay, you can have my stream. I'll give it to you at the end of this. But oh my God, who would have anticipated this would be the match to be so incredibly exciting to watch down to the last wire? I know.
No chance, right? It's crazy the comeback we've seen from NIP. Playing so well in the second half and into OT, but this is where it all falls apart. This is where everything is decided. The NIP stay. Do we go to our 3rd map, or the Wildcard get that 2-0 that it looked like they were so certain to get back when the scoreline was 6-3? Barbecue and Kitchen going to be where we go to. And as we've seen, both teams, I think, have struggled at points, Fett, with trying to clear too much of the map.
Now, it's not shown on screen yet, but there's a little operator pick that Wildcard have done right now.
Didn't they speak about this during the timeout?
It's going to be very, very strong.
You can say what it is, mate. Go on.
Okay. They picked Oryx. All right, and Oryx is going to be the counter to the Montaigne, whereas previously Clash was. Now, I believe there was 1 push where Montaigne kind of pressured the map by himself. Clash matched him the entire round, and that's how they won. With no Clash available, unfortunately, they're not able to match the Montaigne now, but now they have a Oryx to do it to try to counter him out. The only issue is if they do a full push with the Montaigne, you can't really go for a solo kill on it.
And I think that's the important point there. The Oryx, there's 2 things that Oryx I kind of look at as kind of high fantasy, and that is Oryx up a hatch onto the flank to get a kill, and that is smashing down a shield and getting the kill. And it's rare that we see those counters, but it could be huge if they're able to deliver it. And like you say, playing into the fact that Monty has pushed solo previously, it's definitely a matchup to be watching closely.
Entry, straight into tables. Fantasy's in. Fantasy's in.
It's always the entry.
Out. That's so much pressure. The worst thing in the world that can happen is a guy getting a kill and just leaving. Because now, how do you respond? Do we move around? Do we respond? Do we go kill him? What do we do? Do we move too much and give away the picks? No idea. Wildcard, stay steady, stay put. No overreaction for them.
Well, there's 3 of them stacked up on the Shrine balcony here as well. They want to push in. I wonder if Baby Shark is the player they're watching, because you were saying about the potential for the Monty to be alone and be punished by that. But as Tim said, it's high fantasy. It's all the things that we would love to see, but teams don't let that happen. Starting their push forward here as well. Con still asking questions on towards that top door. C4 out towards the window. Spiker not quite finding his man here. And NIP still with tons of time to work with in this round.
Montaigne close up on Black Door, but so is Oryx. The issue is here, you have a player behind Montaigne that can easily get the frag onto Oryx before Montaigne can go down. It'll be a trade for a trade here. 2v2, top Black to determine the match. I think the most important engagement of this entire map.
Baby Shark just clearing the path for himself, taking out those track stingers, trying to get himself some opportunity to get anywhere near that shield. But as it is, it's going to be Dash on the mute that is getting bullied by the Monty right now, but keeping him at bay because NIP, they cannot push in until they've cleared this position hits. He takes a lot of damage off screen, and that is a massive kill. Cons takes a big risk, and it doesn't pay off.
I mean, they had the Oryx cut off from the Mew, but unfortunately for him, he ADS before his teammate was even there. But they're going in!
They're getting away with this one as well.
Happening.
Down to a 2 versus 3. NIP really fighting with scraps now to get the way back in. Diffuser is down, top black, covered by Dash. You're looking at the Monty here and thinking, why take the challenge at that point? He may have cost his team. Dash down his backside as Wizard. He's waving that magic wand against him and starting to swing things back.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
30 seconds left to go. Wizard looking to push forward here. He needs to find something. The clock is against him. Baby Shark Spiker just sitting back, letting the round develop. Baby Shark is a mile away, actually. This could be a problem. They are pretty separated. There is the opportunity for 1v1s, but the focus for Wizard is, of course, towards site. 15 seconds left. Baby Shark holding a long angle will catapult Wildcard into the next round of the Munich Major.
Let's go, NA. Let's go, NA.
That's the revenge they were looking for over NIP. You heard Spiker speaking about it during the interview. A little bit of revenge for his fallen friends, but onwards they go, and NIP out of the tournament, Tim, but still a great run for them, better than we've seen from them in a number of years.
They have battled hard over their last couple of matches, taking out 2 NA juggernauts along the way. It's been a great performance from them, but you felt like they were maybe just coming to the end of that run, and Wildcard, they make sure it's the case.
Wildcard have been so impressive with their adaptations. It took a little bit of a while to figure out what to do without the clash, but they figured it out. Get aggressive. That very last round, the site was below, but everything happened to that top floor. It's crazy that they stayed up there to get in their face, not give the control to NIP, and shut them down.
It's truly wonderful stuff. Of course, they move on, and we'll have some stiff opposition to face later on today. But take nothing away from either side. We have seen some great siege there. After that first map, I was very worried for NIP. They battled their way back in and gave us an excellent skyscraper to close.
I was really worried about that position for Baby Shark at the end there. He dropped so deep. He was way back in delivery, but it was just a great position, a great understanding, and Wildcard able to get themselves.
Well, let's throw it to Ian down the stage to talk to our winners.
But yeah, there it is. My first time casting on the big stage. Let me know down in the comments. What did you think? Was it good? Was it bad? Because honest to God, I had so much fun. Like, this made me realize that if one day I want to stop the brain rot streaming and whatever, I want to do a more professional esports career, I would do casting. And again, thank you so much to Ace and Des for this opportunity. We planned it a while back. We just brought it up in conversation, and this time it happened. And it was absolutely amazing. And they made it so easy to try cast with them. They make it easy for anyone to try cast with them. There's a reason why they get every grand final in Siege. As for the actual casting criticizing, look, I'm good friends with a lot of these casters, and it's a constant conversation between a lot of us that's, I hope, is very respectful. If I'm not doing a good job with that, I often clear things up. Like this one time, I made a pretty poor dig at casting Lynx. We cleared it up in DMs, and Lynx told me how much they appreciated my constructive criticism, and now when I watch Lynx's cast, it's one of the most insane, most ball knowledge-y casts I've ever listened to. It's super enjoyable. I think at the end of the day, I want to push every aspect of Siege, not only from the developers, but also to the esports product side of the game, to be the best it could possibly be, to grow our game the most it possibly can. And on the flip side of that, I want to be the best creator I could possibly be too. So let me know down in the comments what I could do to improve from your guys' perspective to continue help growing our game. Because at the end of the day, we love Siege. We want to see it grow and flourish, and I will never stop fighting for this game. Peace out. Love you guys.